You want to finish late tonight and start early tomorrow? Sure thing.
Hi, I drive charter tour coaches for a living. Our industry is very heavily regulated, as it should be, as we carry the most valuable of cargo, your family/kids/relatives. And if I fall asleep and hit your car, well, you can work it out. Now, one of the rules is, after a working day, a minimum of time in complete rest must be given undisturbed. By law, this time can be reduced, but only 3 times a work period, between 2 weekly rest periods, basically between your days off. Another interesting rule is, by law, if your rest is disturbed, your rest must restart as though you have had no rest. This will be important later. It sounds confusing, but I can have only 9 HRs rest 3 times a week, and the rest must be 11 HRs, minimum less than 11 complete hours rest period, and it's treated like I had 9 HRs only, even if it's 10 HRs 59 mins. Because of this, most tour companies keep rest periods to 11 HRs minimum, looking on the reduced rest as a just in case we get held up and get finished late, etc. So we can start on time the next day and stick to the itinerary.
Now we worked with one tour company. I'll call them Mega Cheap Tours. And their tour leaders like to squeeze every last bit of driving out of their tour hires. Excursions all day to some out-of-the-way flea pit. As long as the tour leader gets a kickback, travel to hotel, then a dinner transfer, and back to the hotel at night. None of it as the itinerary stated. Most good companies eat close or in their hotel to allow the driver to rest. But for these guys, cheapest was best. And if that meant an hour there and an hour back at night, so be it, screw the driver. We are paying for him. The reason for this is the tour leader got a kickback if they ate at the tour leader's favorite spot, and they had one in every overnight stop. I had spoken to my traffic manager about how these guys just ignored the itinerary and was told, just do what they say, they are the customer. Now I was working with one tour leader, we will call him Juan, well known for not only working you to death but also stiffing you on your gratuities. He collected them from the passengers on the last day as we traveled to the airport to help you, sat behind you, then placed them into an envelope you knew was light from experience. It's the last day of the tour. Tomorrow I get rid of them all at the airport. And good riddance, I thought, as the passengers are in an excursion. Juan comes to the coach. We need to go here for dinner tonight. Passes me the address. I looks at the sat-nav. That's 1 hour 15 mins away from our hotel tonight. You lot will be eating for 2 hours then and 1 hour 15 back. Then I need to shut down the coach and park it. I won't be finished until about 11 p.m. He looks at me. I know the rules. You only need 9 HRs rest. We will leave at 8 a.m., plenty of time for a 2 p.m. flight. International. He was right, of course, but remember that 3 times a week thing? He had already had me on short rest 3 times this trip owing to dinner transfers. Not 9 HRs, but 10 or something each time. This guy always pushed it to the max. It was at this point, malicious compliance kicked in. You're right, I can work after 9 HRs. I changed the subject quickly, as he smiled at me thinking he had screwed me over. Well, the dinner transfer was worse than I thought. Heavy traffic getting there meant I was late, which meant they started eating late, which of course meant they came back late. By the time I parked at the hotel, it was closer to midnight. I knew what was coming in the morning, so phoned my 24 hours traffic department. As I expected, I was told under no circumstances was I to break the law and run without my legal rest. Massive fines for the company and for me if I did. Normally, I set 2 alarms when I'm on reduced rest, as to be honest, it takes its toll and I need them to get up. But tonight, I set nothing and took my hotel phone off the hook. I went to bed. I woke up to thumping on my hotel door. There was the hotel manager and a very irate Juan. You stupid driver. It's 8 a.m. Everyone is outside, checked out, with luggage, and you've slept in, get dressed and get the coach. I smiled. Juan, I'm on my legal break. We got back nearly at midnight, so can't start to nearly 9. But besides, I've worked 3 times after reduced rest this trip and can't go anywhere until 11 HR's undisturbed rest. Also, you've just disturbed my rest, as this gentleman can confirm. I was friendly with the hotel staff. They used the same hotels every trip, and the staff hated Wen's trips, as he never tipped. Or rather, his guests did through his suggestion, but he collected it to hand in. Which means by law, my rest period resets and starts again. But you know this, as you know the rules, right? So, see you at 7 p.m. tonight. I'm cool for a late checkout, right? I said to the manger, who was nodding enthusiastically, knowing what I'd just done.
Juan's eyes nearly bulged out of his head, which was funny. Wait, what do you mean? We need to get a 2 p.m. flight. I know, I said. Best start organizing taxis for the 40-odd people out there, and next trip don't stitch up your driver. As I shut the door on them both, I knew what was about to happen. Within 5 minutes, my own phone rang, the traffic manager, asking what time I finished the night before, then saying you can start at 9, until I pointed out the 3 late finishes. Silence. Then, well, you're right, but don't expect to be doing any more of this company's tours. They will request we never send you. I asked if he wanted me to drive without legal rest. I knew he wouldn't dare say yes, as I could be recording it. No, you must take legal rest. This is the tour leader's problem of his making. If he had stuck to the itinerary's hours, everything would be fine. Just do me a favor and start at 11 a.m. Not 7 p.m. We need the coach back here tonight. I knew when to not push it any further and said I would be happy to start at 11 a.m. and would start getting ready now and go down for breakfast. An hour later, I went down and saw Juan surrounded by angry passengers screaming at him with a phone to his ear. He saw me and came over. Mr. Driver, please, I nor my company can get a coach to hire, and it's 40 miles to the airport, and our flight leaves in just over 4 HRs. My company are mad. I've not left you legal rest and blaming me. Please help me. I couldn't resist. Juan, if you use all those gratuities you have stolen from me and everyone else over the years, you will be able to afford to hire 10 taxis no problem and make the flight. But I would be quick about it. Otherwise you might get stuck with 40-odd replacement flights as well as taxis. Juan gulped, I bugle, and went white. All in one. It was funny to watch, and ran to reception asking for 10 taxis. What was funnier was when the taxis showed up. They said he needed another 4 or 5 just for the luggage. Each person had 2 massive suitcases. I just sat watching the show through the window, eating my breakfast and drinking my coffee. The staff thought I was a hero, and all smirked and looked on from their respective posts. I knew after this, no tips from the passengers would change hands, and the cost of those taxis would hit his current fiddle bankroll hard, or so I hoped. My boss was right. I never have nor never will do this company's tours again. It was quickly passed back. I was not wanted. But Juan has never been back leading this company's tours either. My ex-colleagues, I knew my cards are marked as trouble, and found another job with another charter company very easily, have told me that now the tour leaders are told by their head office to never give the drivers less than 11 HRs off every night, and factor this into any dinner transfers. If it can't be accommodated, then no dinner transfer, and no off-itinerary excursions. Period.